G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to make a jumbo journal and I'm going to do it in real time. So if you want to do it along with me, you can hear exactly how this process goes down. I got 3 of the jumbo journals that I've completed. I wouldn't say complete. Are they ever really complete? I don't know. As long as there's a teeny tiny space that I can throw some junk into. I don't know if they're ever really complete. I'm going to flip through some of these, maybe all of them, at the end of the video, just give you a quick look at how the jumbo journal has kind of evolved over 2023. I did start this in 2022, but most of all the work I've done in these is 2023. They're like massive junk journals. So I need to make a new one, and I figured, because I've been asked to show this before, I figured this would be a great time just to turn the camera on. So it's going to be real time. I'll show you everything you need. Actually, we'll have a look at these later. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's going to be very loud, just so you know. It's going to be lots of paper crinkling, and it's going to sound like this the most of the video. So if you don't like that, I'll see you in another video. If you do and you want to play along, I use this big old metal ruler, a bone folder, a waxed thread, and kind of like a big needle, and some scissors. And that's it. We're gonna do this production line style. I've got 3 Trader Joe's paper bags, and these are just the regular ones. They do have Christmas ones, but I'm just making mine for regular 2024 stuff. We're gonna do this, whatever we do to one bag, we're gonna do to all 3. I only use 3, I think the most I've used is 5, but for the jumbo journals, you want them really, like, just not many leaves at all, because you end up putting in so much stuff that they really, really bulk up. So it's a huge journal. It's just made out of 3 of these bags, and we're gonna do it together. So let's rip off these handles. If you can, try and rip off some of the glue with it, because sometimes I iron the bags and the heat reactivates the glue. So if you can rip some of that off, that's fine. These are not supposed to look pristine, so don't worry if you've got rips and tears and your paper bag's falling apart a little bit. I mean, don't go crazy on it, but they don't have to look great, because they're just the base of a journal that we end up putting so much stuff on top of, you don't even notice half of it. All right, we've got that ready. Now I'm gonna kind of fluff up the bag a little bit, open up that gusset, take my scissors and run right down the seam. There's this kind of folded seam you can see here. And then into the bottom gusset of the bag. I actually want to cut out all of this, and I want to go over these folds so I can cut out most of the glue. So I'm going to have to open this whole bag up. Now, if you're using a different type of paper bag, please make the adjustments you need to make for whatever your paper bag is doing. Ultimately, we want to open up the bag flat. That's where we're going. I cut out this big old circle, and then we've cut open the gusset, and then so we've just got these little folded corners. So there's that one. I'm gonna open up this one. I figure when you work production line style, you can keep your mind focused on one task at a time. It actually tends to be more efficient. And the reason I open up the bag and don't just cut off the whole thing is because sometimes you'll end up cutting into the side, which becomes the page of our journal. And even though I do have slices through the pages of my journals, I'm trying to teach you the right way. Now you could very carefully open up this part of the journal here and use the entire paper bag, not the journal, the bag. You can open up the fold and you can undo all these seams, because our next step is essentially what we could have done with the bag. You want to pull these glued parts apart, because we want to lay everything flat. So if you had the patience to do that with the entire bag, you would have a very long sheet of paper. And so you could have a very wide panoramic journal. The reality is everyone's going to have a different amount of space they have to work with, and it just is so impractical. even at the size that I use it at. So to have it any bigger than that is just kind of a waste. But if you really want to, I mean, you can use the entire bag. There's nothing against it. These aren't any specific size. It just really depends on the type of bag you're using. But I am going to take off these side panels. That's why I don't really care to cut into the gusset or to the fold. I use my bone folder to go back and forth. And this will now become the edge of my book. And I like to tear it. If you keep some pressure right near the crease, you tend to get a nice even tear. And also if you fold it back on itself and give it an extra crease the other way, that really weakens the paper. And so you can get a nice tear on it. There will be times where I don't get a clean edge, and sometimes I'll be fussy and I'll cut it. Or sometimes I've actually torn off too much. None of that really matters unless you've torn it off over the spine. So now I'm going to fold the whole thing flat. Line up these edges. And use my bone folder to crease that edge. Oh, these ones don't have the little hook. My other bags have a little like open part here. These ones don't. That's so random. I always used to use those to line each other up, but now I guess I don't have to. This is the spine. This is the only part you don't want to be ripping off too much of the edge, because when we sew it all together, you need to be able to sew almost like an inch from the edge. So if you rip a little bit, it's fine, but any more than an inch, I'd probably just get a new bag and start again. I use my ruler and put the metal side down. Tends to be an easier way to rip this bottom edge because it's all really torn. You can pull both pages at a time. As long as you're kind of white knuckling it with the pressure, you can tear towards yourself. Lots of little tears work better. And you get a nice flat edge along the bottom. And this becomes one leaf of the journal. Lovely. Let's do that same process to the other two bags. So we have to open up the gusset. I should do a version of this video where it's just making it and make it ASMR. Some people like this paper folding sound. Fold this back on itself to get a nice clean tear. Yeah, really tearing up those edges today. It is what it is. I don't need these to be super beautiful because I do end up putting so much in here. Like, I will put household items in here. I have put props from shows in here, pins, full pins, bracelets, headbands, like actual items. So the last thing I usually worry about is a bit of a crooked edge. I'm gagged they took out that little notch though. I wonder why. Or I wonder if these are older bags, because I know we have so many of them. Ironically, I always forget to recycle these bags and take them back to Trader Joe's to get our groceries. That's why we end up with so many of them. But I've used them more as journals than I have as recycled paper bags. So at least I am reusing them, I guess. Pull that edge off. And last leaf, undo the gusset, take off the edges, fold and tear. If you have a huge paper trimmer, you can get a really nice edge on all of these, but my paper trimmer only goes to a 12 by 12, and this is bigger than that. You could always use a box cutter and make it really nice and neat. I guess it really just depends on if you're the type of person that needs to have it neat. Some people really do. I think I mentioned this before, but I don't use any more than 5 bags on any one jumbo journal. 3 I think is ideal. 5 is maybe a little bit more than you would need if you're going to put a lot of stuff in there. And I just love these. I mean, makes no sense to really buy a journal that doesn't have a lot of paper in it. It's really not the point for most people. But for junk journaling, you really don't need a ton. You end up putting in so much and like so many things that become new pages. I put a whole calendar in my last one. So what usually comes out to be about 10 pages ends up being about 200 by the time you put in all your junk. And things that aren't even pages, like a calendar is a whole bunch of pages, but I'll put in a Starbucks bag. That becomes an extra 2 sheets, right? You got the front of the bag, the back of the bag, but also I stuff stuff inside it. So yeah, there's just really so much that happens in these jumbo journals. You don't need too many. Now I've got all 3 leaves here. It's time to assemble. I like to keep this first one open like this so that this becomes my cover. The next leaf I put in, I actually want to fold back on itself. So that now I've got double pattern looking at me. And then I'm going to put double blank. The reason I do this is because now when you flip through the book, you'll have a pattern next to a pattern and a blank next to a blank. If you don't fold it back on itself, I'll show you, you end up having a pattern and a blank, which is fine. Some people might like this. I usually use the pattern side for all the things that I just kind of want to stick on top of it. And this is more for drawing if I feel like drawing. Realistically, I don't typically draw in these, but the times I have, I've used these blank pages. So I just like to have them doubled up. Just makes more sense to me. But whichever way you prefer, it's completely fine. I'm going to push all of these together. And now I'm just going to fold them. And I'm going to use my thumbs to kind of push on that crease to line up all those pages. You kind of want to pinch them together so that you can feel that they're all creased together in that right orientation, and then just really go to town on that bone folder. Now you could get some clips and do this really nicely if you had patience, but I like to wing it. So I'm going to use my wax thread, pull about an arm's length, and this big old needle to thread through. It's got a super huge eye. Is that what they're called? Loop eye? Anyway, it's really easy because it's so big. And then I go to the middle of my journal. This is going to be a little hard to see, so I'll try and explain it very clearly. I'm starting in the center of my journal and I want to push the needle down right through the middle. But what I want to be careful of is making sure that I pop up through the spine. I've gotten a feel for this over time, so I feel like I know how to kind of cheat it around a little bit, but this can be very difficult. Sometimes you'll push it through the spine and you'll think you're right there and it'll come out over here. Don't even know how that happens. So this is why I like to kind of pinch all those pages together. And then once I've pushed it through, I'm going to pull, and I want to leave kind of a long tail because I need to be able to tie this in a knot at the end. So I'm going to leave that long tail there. I'm going to crease everything together, make sure it's all lined up nicely, then come back to here. I'm going to start on that spine and then open up my journal, and hopefully I'll come back through right on the spine. Now see, if you can see that, I'm actually like 2 millimeters away from it. That's not terrible, but I am going to try again and just try and get as close as I can. There you go, I'm right on it. And am I through the spine? That's close enough. You can give yourself a few millimeters allowance. You just don't want to put too many holes near each other because it is paper, so it will kind of weaken and then you'll end up tearing all those pages. But once you've got that through, you want to dip right back down again. I usually go about 1.5 inches at a time, creasing that paper. Sometimes I actually find it's easier to put your finger where you want the needle to end up because you can kind of imagine yourself piercing through your finger and then it comes out exactly there. It's like a law. When you're sewing, you will accidentally get yourself. So if you can put your finger right on the edge, you'll kind of guide it to where it needs to be. There we go. Now as I pull, I'm just making sure that tension just kind of stays nice. And then I want to stay about 1 inch from the top and go back through the spine. And then hopefully end up where I need to end up. The pages do kind of rustle around a bit. That's why you want to make sure that you're keeping them kind of bent and pinched. That's where I say you could use a clip if you wanted to, but these don't need to be that well done. as long as they're relatively close to the spine. So we've gone all the way up to the top. Now I'm going to dive back through the holes from these threads. So I'll keep that crossed, folded, and go back through that hole. And then back through this one. It's so much fiddling with this huge paper. So give yourself a moment with this because you don't want to get too frustrated. Keep that tension nice and tight as you go. Now I'm not gonna go down straight through this center hole. I'm gonna go kind of next to it. And I'm gonna do the same thing again, just down towards the bottom of the page. Your pages should be kind of secure now because you've sewn half of them together, but still push your finger against the edge. And as you come up, check that you're right near the center. I'm gonna go back down again, about 1.5 inches away. If you actually look at all my journals, there's tons of little holes where I've tried again. So you don't have to get them completely perfect. When I'm doing this on regular watercolor paper, I do have a Japanese hole punch, or you can use an awl. So you'll pre-punch these holes, but this is such thin paper, you can just push the needle through. But when you have the pre-punched holes, that kind of keeps it all nice and neat and together. So I guess you could do that if you wanted to. Go back through these holes again. You should end up with an odd amount of holes. I think this is 7. You can do as many as you want. You just want to be able to tie it off in the center at the end. So there's the last one. Now I've got these 2 loose legs. I want to unthread my needle, so I don't need that needle anymore. Make sure that my tension is nice and taut on those strings, and then make a knot. I do a very loose knot. Once it's crossed this way, I drag it, I kind of like twist it sideways, 90 degrees, and then drag that knot up to the center of the journal where that hole is, because then the knot kind of sits on the hole and it'll push into it. I'll just tighten it off and make a double knot. When you've double knotted it, you can pull a little bit tighter and it will really tighten that tension. Don't pull too tight because it is paper, it might rip. But then just push that knot into the center. Do a triple knot just in case. This wax thread is very strong though. And then I usually cut the tail off right at the first hole on either side. If you cut it a little bit longer, you can actually kind of thread the tail back through one of the holes and maybe tape it on the outside, but I don't mind having the loose tails right here. It's not a bother for me. And now that it's all done, you want to close the journal, grab your bone folder, and really go to town on these edges. Really make them nice and crisp. We'll open it up, fold that edge, and here. Don't really need to do the middle. And there we go. There is a Trader Joe's bag jumbo journal. This is what they look like when there's absolutely nothing inside them. And this is what they look like when you put some junk inside them. And this is what they look like when you put a ton of junk inside them. Seriously, I think this one was only three bags. I think this one might have been 5 bags. I'm going to show you through these actually. The only other step you might want to take that I believe I did with this journal, can you see how this one's really nice and flat and smooth? And this one's got a lot of crinkles in it and wrinkles. I ironed it. Obviously don't use a steam setting because it's, I mean, I guess you could, but I don't know how it would work out. You just want to use kind of a dry, low to mid temperature iron, nothing too hot. You don't want to catch fire. So low temperature, I would say. And iron out these pages. You can do a double page at a time, or you can just keep the book flat and just keep ironing it. The only thing I would suggest is be careful wherever there was glue, the heat will reactivate. You can kind of smooth it out, but you don't want to get that glue on your iron, and you also don't want to glue it. You don't want to reactivate the glue inside here and then accidentally have your pages stick together. So either avoid the little glue area or put a piece of paper on top, a post-it note or something, or even post-it's got sticky on it. Just put a blank piece of paper on top, iron it off, and let that glue set under there, and just you can tear it off that way. So it's like wax. It like reheats and, I mean glue. It reheats and it gets sticky again. So that is the only other step. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make that. I'm going to show you through a bunch of these journals because I cannot help myself. I absolutely love to jump through a journal. These aren't official flips, but I just wanted to show you the types of things that I put in here. Let me check that I'm still in frame. Great. 20 minutes. That's all right. That's a nice video. This is the first one I did. I did it around Christmas time. Hang on. I got to check again. I get really paranoid I'm out of frame or not center. There you go. This is, I did this around Christmas, so it was more of a December daily type journal. And, why is that faded? Who knows? And then it just became an everything journal because I didn't finish it around Christmas. But can you see how this one all had like a place for everything? Everything was nice and neatly laid out. I was very intentional about that. I really do like that about this particular journal. I would like to do my next one like this because the last one that I just did is very junky. Like very, very, very junk. I did my Merry Mix Media in here too. I love that pencil nutcracker. This was around playtest Patreon time. So I put my Art Snack stuff in here as well. I've got packaging for literally everything that I own. Everything I've ever bought. Sometimes if it's just very specific to something, like Strepsils, if I had a sore throat. Bleu de Chanel, that's the perfume or cologne that I wear. I'll usually put my face wash, like face lotion, packaging in here. Something just beeped. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I really love this. These are all my favorite Christmas ornaments. I have new ones. I should probably redo that one day. I redid a version of this in my journal here. I did this last Christmas, and so I kept all of these again and did them again this year. I just really like keeping all of the names that people write for Steve and I, and then all of the stamps that we get from different places. And sometimes the post office will put another stamp over the top that's cute too. Those are all different. I'm a bit of a collector, as you can see. So you see how everything was just very nice and neatly laid out? Like even all the junk was neatly laid out. I would like to do that again. Christmas bags, like this, something can go in there. I don't think anything did go in there, but it could if I wanted it to. Like a little journal inside of a journal. Oh, my old swatch card. Before I change that out. So I have done art in here. This is, I think, Tim Holtz Distress Crayon. I usually put a piece of paper on anything that will transfer, which works in a journal like this because you can have lots of paper. This one is very flat. I can't believe how flat this is. I wonder if it's just over time it's all flattened or if it's because I ironed it. The other ones are not as flat as this. Lots of lovely brochures, cards. This is a Christmas bonbon. Tags from events. Lots of photos. Tons of photos go in here. The format is so huge. I love to put photos in here because you can really put big ones in. I don't have to size them specifically. I spend a lot of time resizing photos for my 5-year journal. So this one I can just kind of pop them into Photoshop and print them out. Or I can have a really long format photo strip. Some more Art Snack stuff, big photos. This was a beer cozy that I got from Australia. Like I would never really use that, so we used it in our Australia Christmas card photo that year. The Don We Now Our G'day apparel. So it's a memory, but like I would never use it, so that's why I love having this big old journal to put stuff like that in. Not a lot that kind of flies off the side here. I think I've got this Peter Alexander tag, and that's really just it. The second one I did got a little bit more chaotic. Like we got a little bit happier with what we wanted to put in here. So everything's flying off everywhere. Let me just open my eyes up here. Okay, keep it right there. It'll be great. Oh, that's stuck down. Is it? Surely not. Oh, it is. Did I really stick it on top of that? Probably. I make decisions at the time that I think are normal, and then I go to pull the whole thing up because I think it's surely not stuck on the top. Oh, my Porto's packaging. I wanted to go there yesterday. Lines are always too long. This is more playtest Patreon stuff. Steve and I did this spread together. That was fun. Here we started to get a little bit more junky. This is a necklace I used to wear all the time. It broke. So I put it in here as my memories. These all kind of open up. I should do real flips of these. If I haven't already, have I flipped this? I really don't even know anymore. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel. At this point, I have no idea what I've done. I just assume I've done everything. Like, there's actually no more to do. Unless I do something new every single week, I'm like, you've seen it all. But that's not even true. I know there are journals you have never even seen. Well, not flipped. So this is where it starts to get a little junkier. But even then, I feel like my junk was like very nice and neatly laid out. The next one, you're going to die. It's just chaos. Oh, Hootie. It's my niece. Swing tags, lots of swing tags from clothes. This is soap packaging. You can still smell it. Obviously you can't smell it, but... this was... Oh, I can just got a big whiff of it. I love it. Sandalwood, geranium, and bergamot. Really nice. Oh, it's really strong too. That's crazy. This, it's in my Australia journal as well. I think it's the same one actually. So it just reminds me of home. This is the 100-day project. This was the page that I would stamp on so I could get the ghost stamp. I keep junk like that. I think if you've watched this for any amount of time, this channel, you know I keep junk like that. So it's not a surprise. But if you're new, I even kept this, which is a piece of junk paper that I tested pens on and obviously used as a rest for a glue, because there's glue all over it. I don't know why I like to keep this junk. Something inside my brain says I can't get rid of it. These are the sisters, Ariel's sisters. I never did those. I need to scan that and do that for Collage Club. I think I was going to color it digitally. Look at me finding things. Steve's photography. I think this is one of the first kind of curated spreads I did in this one. Oh, the Daisy style workshop. These are the different styles and the different examples that I did. This is actually from the workshop, which I like to keep. And this was a whole year I had once, 2021. Do I have another one? I don't think I have another one of these. I think I started just using my Hobonichi Techo. No, I lie. My weeks. More art snacks. This is an old headshot. Just keep in there. In this bag that apparently is supposed to disintegrate, so I'll tell you when that disintegrates. Even my junk is neat. I love the neat junk. This is a little hectic. Daisy style workshop stuff. The Pride beach party we all went to. More. It's like this is a bag that we got from that beach party, I think. That I just cut up. Welcome home signs. A balloon from one of the cavalcades that I did at Disneyland. Blue de Chanel. This is my birthday last year. Birthday spread. All my little tickets. I still love they give me the tickets. This is junky. Oh, I think I said remind me if I ever need that button because it's in here. I will never remember that. But hopefully you guys will if I ever ask. Chanel bag. Oh, there's my face packaging. Kewpie mayonnaise, that's so funny. I love that mayonnaise. And this was actually, I didn't have the full piece of paper for this cover, so I stapled on like extra bits so I could make a full sheet on the back. It was literally only half a sheet, so all of this is added. But I wanted to reinforce the cover of the journal because I wanted to see if it was any better. And it's not like it's a soft cover like the first one feels like, but it also doesn't feel like a hard cover either. But it does feel more durable. So I definitely preferred kind of covering the front. I tried to do it with this last one, the most recent one that I've been working on. I put a bit of watercolor paper on the front. This was from an old concept stamping workshop. So it's kind of reinforced, but everything in here is so crazy. Like this is a pin. These are fake cigarettes from the Goring 20s show that I did, bracelets that I was given from people. This is where we got real junky. So I think I'm dialing this back a bit. This was a little too junky for me. I tried to piece stuff together so that it made more sense, but it really is going haywire. Let me check that I'm in frame. Okay, we'll give you a quick little flips through this, and then I'll be on my merry way. Postcards, lots of photos. This was a nice spread that I did for Steve and my wedding anniversary. 7 years. This, I think these kind of like trip me out a little bit. They're too long, but they'll stay like that for now. Oh, this is the calendar that I put inside. So then I got a whole extra little book inside of this. Cute. Packaging, swing tags. There's lots of clothes and swing tags through this because I had bought Steve a bunch of stuff. And he always gives me the tags. And also it's around Christmas time, so you're buying lots of Christmas presents that have lots of tags. This is when I try to catch up in my Hobonichi, and I have to put all the numbers down and check them off as I go. Sometimes I'm catching up on writing days, and then sometimes it's just making sure that I get the photos in the right order, because I do a whole batch of photos at the same time. But you'll see a lot of these numbers lists throughout these journals. These are cute. I really enjoyed these little pachows. A badge, a button from a cavalcade. Christmas. This is Christmas this year. There's our Christmas card. Loved those. Super fun. Steve got me a big version of it printed for our house, which is also a part of the tradition. Hopefully one day I'm going to have a whole gallery wall of all of our Christmas card photos. Merry Mixed Media stuff. Some art snacks. It's oil pastel, so that's why I've got this tissue paper on top. These are all the little corners I get off my checks from work. Starbucks. The rest of that bag. Oh, this is random, but it's the Do Not Bend sticker. I have a roll of Do Not Bend stickers. So the last time I did Etsy orders, I just put that in there because I thought one day I probably won't be sending Etsy orders anymore, and I'll always remember this part of it if I have this here. Headband I got at Halloween. It's probably one of the more random things in here. You can't really smell this bar soap wrapper. Oh, look, there's another one of those lists. Steve gets these really tiny little Trader Joe's little ice cream cones. Like the perfect one serving of ice cream. Art snack stuff. Lots of this plasticky wrap. So I guess it's better in here than out in the trash. Here's a photo shoot Steve did. These are my selects. So I just printed those all off. Oh, this was the photo shoot as well. His little contact sheet. And then this was a, this is the first kind of editorial that he produced, and it's being published, but it still hasn't come out yet. And we did it so long ago now, but I kept this because I wanted to make sure I kept the first one that he did intentionally to go and get published. And yeah, no, I feel like this is a very special memory. It's a little stupid that I put this on top of it because this is not the one, but anyway, I've still got it. I'll probably rip it out and frame it one day when he's a big time photographer. And that is where this one is up to. This is just Collage Club pages that are finished, or photos that I've already used. This one is actually probably the thickest, but it's also the lightest. The other ones are quite heavy. Ooh, this one is very heavy. This one is kind of heavy as well. But that is my stack of jumbo journals. And this is all the junk I've managed to keep and put in here, which would have had no place to be if I didn't make these. The other thing is, like, a lot of this stuff I hadn't really journaled before because I'd never had a format that was so big to do it in. I was using these traveler's notebooks for my photos like this, but even then I had to kind of cut them in half and put them on either side. And I actually still love those photo journals. Maybe I should reconsider getting back into those, but this has just been such an easy format, and I was looking for something a little bit more manageable throughout the year. as far as, or not manageable, more efficient, I guess. I go through waves where I don't care about being efficient and I'll do all of the fussy work, and then other times where I'm like, I just need one and done. It needs to be everything in here. So these have been really good for this season for me. And now I have my new one. I've got my new one here. Actually, I do have a couple more. This one is one that I just did and tried to cut off the sides to make it all neat. And you can see it's much smaller, like teeny tiny really when you compare it to the rest. I think it's just about a 12 by 12. And then another one here. Just, I had to make one just to make sure I remembered how to do it. The secret, this is a little notch. This one doesn't have a notch. These ones all have notches. So this will be my first notchless one. I'm very excited to use it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that was helpful if you were looking to make a jumbo journal for yourself. If not, hopefully you just enjoyed all that rustling and that little flip at the end. I'll wish you a very happy start to 2024, and I will be working very diligently to get my Hobonichi 5-year all finished. All of the writing is finished. I just have to do my year-in review at the end, and I have to finish off some of those right-hand side pages, which will probably take me a little bit, and I'll try and get it filmed for you and all wrapped up, because that is one of my biggest accomplishments I've ever done in journaling. I'm very, very excited to share it. This video has literally been 5 years in the literal making. So I'm very, very excited about that. And we have that to look forward to. Hope you're having a great start to 2024. Fresh journals, fresh planners, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.